Hey guys, we were told to make an intro for our videos. Here's a review. All right, ignore that. That didn't happen. That's how the review's gonna start.
Yeah, actually keep that.
All right, all right. Hey everyone, welcome back. We're here to talk about Dark Side of the Ring. Chris Kanyon was up. Good idea to talk about it.
That was a rough one. It was wild. It was a wild ride.
It was so much more wild than I thought it was gonna be. Like I thought it was just gonna be sad, and it is
Yeah,
sad.
it's sad, yeah.
But I didn't expect like Scientology to come up
No,
or
and then
aliens.
aliens and all. I'm like, yo, oh man. Him choking out the sinister minister though.
Dude,
Dude is
I
going
have
through a
so much
lot.
respect for him for still looking back as fondly as he does on Chris
Yeah,
Kanyon.
yeah,
He put a gun out on him.
yeah. He pulled out a 45 on her.
There's
Isn't that crazy? Dude, I still felt so bad for Canyon though. It seemed to me like he was living in a world where he was seeing everybody as his enemy when they weren't,
yeah,
you know?
like everyone like loved him and appreciated him, and he just couldn't.
Adored him. Yeah.
Well, and that's because like I feel like the people he looked up to, the John Cena and like Ric Flair, just shut him down,
It
including
all
Ric Flair. Like Rick, they just I don't know what he did to the producers of the show. But these
it's gonna
past two
come.
episodes are like, fuck you in particular.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, okay. So this episode, Ric Flair was still a bit of an asshole, but this time, dude, I don't know. Here's my thing, right? You go into the episode expecting to hear a bunch of homophobic shit about Ric Flair and John Cena. Now, it could be that their opinions on Canyon were motivated by the fact that he was gay, or it could be that they were just offering an opinion.
I think that they were doing,
You get what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like,
I don't think, and I was kind of expecting it to go that way. I don't think that it was like rooted in like homophobia.
right,
I think it was rooted in them being a part of the company,
right,
like John Cena in particular,
right.
where it wasn't about Chris Canyon as a person. It was about like making sure they said the right things
Mm-hmm.
to protect their spot.
In some ways that's scummy, right? But in this, I wouldn't even say be mad at John Cena or Ric Flair. I would say be mad at the company.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Like company and then probably Taker just because like every time I see that chair shot, I'm like, come on, man.
he didn't have to do that. No,
Mm-mm.
no.
Um,
Um,
I saw the like actual like full video of like that incident, and one of the things that like really shocked me was like it kept cutting back to Paul Heyman, who like at first was like, "Come on, stop it," and like by the end he's just
like it wasn't scripted to go that way.
yeah, like he was just like staring off, like I don't know about this.
Was it wasn't knowledge. It was knowledge within WWE at that time that he was gay, right? I feel like I missed that.
I think from the way I don't think he was officially out, but I think that people knew.
People knew. And so it's speculated that beating was because of that, right? Like,
Yeah, and the one guy he was like WWE is not going to have you train for a year just to humiliate you, and I'm like, have you
they will.
heard of the WWE?
Yes, they will.
It's
Yeah,
exactly what they do.
yeah,
They pay you to train for a year just to humiliate you.
yeah. Um, And I also think it was that dude trying to protect his whatever relationships he still might have with the WWE. Um,
Um, the story of how did he phrase it? The pinata of gay porn that fell down from the U-Haul.
I'm sorry, that shit was funny.
He's like, that's not even mine. That's his. He's probably gay. And then calls him up like, okay, let's script this out. We gotta figure out.
I'm sorry, that was funny as shit to me.
The only thing even funnier is him, the story of him like printing out like all of the messages and putting it in a box. Like legit, like he had receipts.
Yeah, he had receipts for days.
They were like, you did not talk to him, and be like, excuse you. April 4th.
I just can't imagine what it's like to like
Yeah, because
live with your, to live that way.
Yeah, and like
that's what's sad. Like there was some funny shit, like the the pinata of gay porn or whatever. Like, but when you really get down to it, that's some sad shit.
Yeah, and like one of the things that kind of brought new light onto it, right, is I think before this episode you thought it was like, oh, he was a gay man and essentially a straight man's industry who had mental health problems. And like now, like after I watched it, I'm like, oh, he's a man who had mental health problems.
Yeah.
Who happened to be gay in an industry where it's not really celebrated.
Right. And honestly, I feel like the episode didn't do enough to talk about, like, it goes into like all of his mental health issues. I feel like it didn't talk about the root of it, like being gay, growing up in the Catholic Church. You know what I'm saying? Like they mentioned it, but it was very brief. And I feel like they should have talked about that more if there was anything, if they could find anything on that. Like I feel like a lot of that contributes to what his mind state was.
This is a weird episode because, like, I would say, like, the plane ride episode is probably a little bit more bombastic,
right?
Right, and this one feels quieter, but like, I also feel like there's way more stories in this one.
Absolutely.
But it felt short.
I feel like a lot of people were protected.
Like I feel like
it's a lot of things they didn't touch on that I'm pretty
like
sure
Benoit and like Owen Hart, how they had 2 episodes.
Yeah.
I genuinely feel like this could have been the same.
This deserved 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I guarantee you there was more to all of that than what they showed.
I also want to bring up the story real quick. In order to help people or convince people that he wasn't gay, he went to the Sinister Minister and was like, "Find me a whore, film me having sex with her," and then he no shows. So he's like, "I guess I'll do it. Wear the Mortis mask." And then he sees it. And he's like, "What the fuck?"
Some of this shit was just funny, bro. I'm sorry.
My God.
Some of it was just like comedic gold, dog.
He deserves a movie to be made about him.
Absolutely. This episode was wild in its own way. It was wild in a very unique way.
Is what, like, because my only critique of it is that it needed a second episode. Because there's no, like, even if I was like, yeah, they should have dived in more here or here or here, there's nothing I would have taken out.
Yeah, there was something that's gonna stick with me. It was the moment when the Sinister Minister was talking about the last time he saw him, the last time he was hanging out with him.
Mm-hmm.
And they were talking for hours and reminiscing. He said it was after the most terrible match he had ever seen Kanyon in, and they were talking and reminiscing and just being happy and shit. And he said he hugged him and he said it was the last time he ever saw him. And dude, that shit made me so sad because that's like one of the things I'm scared of. like seeing someone for the last time, and you hope that the last time you see someone is a moment like that, right? Like if
Mm.
it has to be the last time, let it be something like that. But that's still such a scary and sad thing. Like that actually happened.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And then he spent like what 10 days trying to get a hold of him.
Yeah. That shit is scary to me, dude. That shit is scary, man.
But this is good. Like I already know that I feel like the last episode was kind of an anomaly on like how big everyone was talking about it.
Mhm.
I feel like mostly the people who are already interested in the story are going to check it out.
Yeah.
But this is something that I feel like it's for the general audience.
Yeah.
Like you feel for the guy.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
And he was 40, right?
I believe so. Yeah. Yeah, that shit was sad. I didn't know he inspired like so many people. Like I knew everybody liked Chris Kanyon, right?
Mhm.
But I didn't know he inspired so many people. Like the Bucks, young Bucks
Yeah,
fans.
yeah. I was a little surprised about that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I did not know about that connection. Um,
There is one thing that they said that I need to critique because this is kind of a review.
okay.
They said something that is entirely fiction, which surprised me.
Okay.
They were talking about the movie Ready to Rumble,
Okay.
the wrestling movie with like David Arquette, and they got like Chris Kanyon to go over. They said it was the best wrestling movie of all time,
No.
and I'm tired of this revisionist history. It's a bad movie,
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
and there's also a movie called
I
The
loved it back
Wrestler.
then as a kid. As a kid, I loved it. But
Yeah, but how are you going to say that with The Wrestler out?
oh yeah, no, the wrestler is the greatest wrestler. They have a bias. They have a clear bias.
But other than that, I loved it. They said that, and I paused it. I was like, hold on.
They have a bias. They have a connection to it. You know, they're going to think they're always going to think that that's the greatest wrestling movie of all time.
But yeah, on a scale of watch this immediately to if it's on, check it out. Where would you rate it?
Very close to watch this immediately. So if watch this immediately is like a 10, I'll give it like an 8. And the only reason why I wouldn't give it a whole 10 is because I feel like there's a lot of shit missing.
And which again, it doesn't even feel like it's it didn't even feel like it was being left out intentionally. It just felt like
Right.
they
Maybe they
had
had
a small amount of time and they were like, we need the pinata of gay porn. Sorry.
yeah. It's it's either um it's either what you say they didn't have enough time or they didn't do their due diligence.
Which I don't.
Yeah, they didn't give it his due diligence.
Yeah.
Which I suppose that kind of goes, that could go hand in hand. Yeah, because early on I said they were probably protecting people, but they're going after Ric Flair this season, so they're not protecting anybody.
Yeah. I thought it was the moment they were like, and then Ric Flair called in to tell him to his face, and I was like, God.
And I mean, at least I will say this, at least he did it to his face. You know? I mean, I don't
Well, it
like
wasn't
that.
to his face, technically. It was still
It
over
was
the
on
phone, but
either way, he said it to him, you know? I don't think I didn't like his delivery. I don't think that should have been done publicly, you know? But in this episode, outside of like John Cena and Ric Flair protecting their relationships in probably the worst way that one can possibly protect their relationships, they were just stating an opinion to me. Um, was it a shitty opinion? Sure, but
um,
there was nothing homophobic there, as far as I could see.
no. And the last thing I want to touch on.
Mm.
So Ric Flair has been responding.
Okay.
Oh man. And first of all, he did it for the last episode where he starts off and he's like, my wife didn't want me to respond. My lawyer didn't want me to respond. Here's my response. Which is some old man shit right there.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
a man tried to destroy my reputation based on an assumption. He posted a picture of himself saying, live your truth. He posted another picture of yourself saying, for every person that tries to tear you down, you have 10 more to pick you back up.
Rick, if you're going to talk, just apologize, G. What is all of this?
And then the last one he put was, it was about the Howard Stern incident with Kanyon. And this one, he was like, it breaks my heart to hear later on that he took it this hard. I should not have said that nobody had ever been released. There's no way I could have known that for sure. I was holding the company line. Which is what he was doing.
That's what he was doing.
Like, don't get me wrong. I still think he's done. But it's because of the last week, not this one.
He's done for now.
All right. And on that note, but do you know what the next episode is?
No, I actually have to look into that. The only reason why I knew what this episode was is because shit, I love Kanyon. Who's better than Kanyon?
And we found out our answer. Nobody.
Nobody.